All right, so this is the day after the fire, which appears to be put out. I saw on, look, I'm getting a kiss. Which appears to be fully contained. Said 80% last night, so I had stayed in town. In fact, I just booked the, I just booked the, he's bumping me, the hotel room. So for those of you who've asked for proof of life of old Hank and he survived, yes, he did. In fact, I'm going to talk a little bit about the community response, but I'll talk right away about livestock. So I ran into a sheriff while I went to the command center for this fire, and he had a stock trailer there. And in fact, he said his job was to rescue animals who were in distress. So I had talked to him a little bit about old Hank. He said the last time they videoed him, he said they showed him using a little switch on a donkey. I said, isn't that the way the media would do that, right? The guy's rescued hundreds of animals, and he's going to get the switch on the donkey's butt. Listen, if you've never owned a mule or a donkey, you will know for a stranger to get a donkey in a fire on a car, it's going to need a switch on the butt. So I'm out here today taking a look at the environment, checking in on old Hank. I'll feed and water him extra. I fed and watered him extra yesterday, so he's a good old boy. But anyway, I did not abandon Hank. I had actually got clarification that the county sheriff provides such a service. And that's where this little video will start, because I think that this little community responded amazingly well. First off, I'm hard to get a hold of. And about the same time Hank came up and whinnied at me, and I could just tell in his voice he was unhappy. My neighbor who had called me drove down to check on me, Brad. So first off, I got good neighbors, right? Secondly, then when I stopped at my other neighbors. Yes, I hear you. You're okay. Secondly, when I stopped at my other neighbors and chatted with them, they, well, not chatted, seen what their plan was. Their daddy was on the way home, and those kids, a 14-year-old kid, broken arm, hooking up the trailer, the tractor so he could pull, his dad could come home and pull a plow and make a fire break, which I do see. It is done. So, but indeed, the neighborhood had snapped together. Now, for my property, I ended up getting a favorable change of wind, and that, which I was sure that it was going to jump the, I'm going to give them extra, a whole big sliver of straw. So let's do that. Hank, let's take care of the Hankster. All right, first off, let me put the hay down. Now, this is hard without a phone. Hold on. This is hard on my phone. Lord Almighty. All right, can I talk? All right. So, as I'll say a ranching community here in Texas, we're all super sensitive to the fire. And we had all come together, and we're good neighbors anyway, so it wasn't a chore, right? But a favorable turn of the wind and a quick response of the firefighters made all the world's difference. I was sure that, because the wind was coming straight my way from the fire, that I would get a burn over. And in fact, I didn't. And we saw within minutes of me coming out here, and I put together a very sloppily edited video. Apologies. I'm editing in my cell phone today, so I'll be hitting pause. The cell phone will overheat and shut off at some point, and I won't be able to record. But by the time I had moved the equipment I could out of the way, took care of Hank, and got on my way, I could already hear the fire trucks there. So within minutes, the fire trucks were there. And the helicopter showed up within half hour maybe. So 37 acres. Now it was a good sized wind, but it was a high wind. So we'll turn around behind me. No smoke at all today. And I'm still not going to stay around. I booked those hotel room days. I'm just going to stay. I'm at the Katy house. Super, super nice folks. They accommodated me immediately. And this isn't, a crappy Airbnb I'm in. This is a genuine Airbnb with a real chef and real breakfast and real concern and real heritage and real history and no extra fees and charges when I leave. Zero. The number is the number is the number, and it is a great rate. So anyway, so I did that. No fire today. I drove by, but the community itself was top notch. So first off, the Fayette County, Bastrop County Fire Department with the helicopter. Come on now. That was within 30 minutes, 40 minutes, they were on it. And they were on it. I saw they had fire marshals going down every ranch drive all the way around the perimeter of this island of, I guess, abandonment. It's about, I'm going to guess 10 miles or 12 mile circuit around all of this. And, but I saw many fire marshal trucks in there. All the ranchers opened up their gates. So one thing, speaking of gates, which didn't work, is between, and I just bought this property, between me and that neighbor that caught fire, there was no fire gate. And, we always think of gates for animals, to let animals in and out. But here in Texas and elsewhere in the South where there's a water shortage, we need to think of gates as fire access as well. And we need to put them in where they belong, between us and the neighbors. So that was a little barrier. And the firemen had come down here looking through a cross through and couldn't find it. So when I get to that corner fencing, I will put in a gate so that not only can I let the neighbors' cows back into their sides if they bust the fence, but I'd also be able to allow fire personnel, emergency personnel, egress back and forth. And the gates aren't that much money. So I think that's one thing that is on my list to do. I'm going to go get my little Mahindra, and I've got just a little disc here. I'm going to disc up my drive since everything's dead anyway, put some weight on that. And disc this whole entire drive. One, it'll help me level it. Two, you could see, hopefully in the thing, everything's brown. I mean, it's tinder match. It's tinder match. So I will disc up this entire drive. That'll give the community another quarter mile or more, maybe a half mile of fire break out here. And then I'll chase around the perimeter of my property as well, with that disc as well. So while I'm not mowing, I'll pull that disc at low speed. I'm not worried about that. But listen, the sheriff who rounds up animals, props to him, right? That's a tough job too, right? And I feel ignorant for not even thinking that such a thing would exist. But there it is, props off. And then everybody getting their tractors, and many people got their tractors out. I was the most person, I think, in harm's way, other than the neighbor whose property actually caught on fire. In the satellite image, and I've never jumped fence and nosed around there or anything of the sort. It does appear that there's buildings and maybe people living there. So the other thing I saw in the video is I need to clean up outside if I'm going to end up with surprise videos outside. But what I've been working on, of course, is this shipping container. So once I get inside of this thing, then I'll be able to move everything out of the other Connex that has storage, get it in here, beds and whatnot, clean up the outside, and I have plans and ambitions for making that nice out there. But of course, fire would come up and I'd have to do a halfway video where you're seeing all my, all my unmentionables. But it wasn't that bad. Just it did let me know that, for the rest of the fire season, I might change that pop-up trailer, trade it in for something that maybe has some a little bit of metal on it where it can resist a little bit of a grass fire maybe, and maybe put it on a little pad of grass, of dirt rather, plow the grass off and just put it in an island, as well as maybe put a tin roof over it maybe. but I was really trying to get that done so I could just move in and being done out here. So anyway, let me wrap this all up. Everybody asked me about old Hank. Nobody asked me how I was doing. So I know where I am in a stacking order of things. Old Hank missed me. Look at him, he's over there happily eating oats. I'll give him some fresh water. I just got the temperature warning on my cell phone, so I'm going